of that all-important playoff slot. So we are loading in here, passing through the time stream over into the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. Fury gonna take on BXIOM Japan. Of course, both of these teams not entirely mathematically ruled out of a playoff slot here, but it is all gonna start from this draft. Margin of error here is gonna be razor thin, and you're gonna see that all night long.
See what the first ban ends up being for both sides. I do see BXIOM hovering the gambit, and Fury is going to go for the exact same thing. The question, though, is what's going to happen with these protects. A lot of the teams in this region have very much so like to go for the Elsa. We're going to see BXIOM playing it a little bit more safe, though, going for an Invis Woman Protect, and I think that might be I don't know, I don't want to say that that's you know, an early sign of them playing scared, trying to go straight for the strategist and make sure that they have the most healing possible, make sure that they have the best strategist ult available in the current sandbox of the game. But it does open the door for Fury to take aim with the Elsa Bloodstone, and if you spent any time playing the game in the past couple of months, you know exactly how strong the Monster Hunter can be.
Yeah, one of the raid bosses here, no doubt. And Fury's going to make it a one-sided Elsa here. BXIOM going to ban out the Jeff against Fury. No Mantis on the table, so no Soul Resurgence, and a little bit of damage amp taken off the table here. But Fury is going to secure some of that damage boosting with the Ultron, a save here. You know, the damage amp strategist definitely been making the rounds here. Very popular picks now, but BXIOM a little bit of a late one-sided Invis here. That'll be their last ban, and then they will save the Ultron for themselves as well. So no Mantis here, but definitely going to be eyes in the sky as got to watch out for those Rage of Ultrons.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, BXIOM are going to secure themselves a pretty decent backline here. I'm wondering, yep, that's what I was, that hover right there. Do Fury lock that in? The Doctor Strange ban, because a lot of teams, especially towards the top, ever since Team Liquid Citadel gave everybody the playbook back in the Americas, everybody has been reaching for that, especially on Domination, because the recontest, whether it's on Domination or it's on a cart map, your convoys, your convergences, it's still a very, very strong pick. And even outside of that, if you see a team trying to reach for the Invisible Woman, you take out the other half of that Invis Doctor Strange team up. That just gives him so much more utility. It's a very high value ban and does really it just kind of guts the sort of front to back playstyle that you can kind of tell that with the Invis BXIOM wanted to lean on. So they're going to have to try and go for something a little bit more fast-paced, a little bit more aggressive. And if they want to try and play a front-to-back playstyle, Cloak and Dagger is going to have to be the next best option. I will note for both teams, Loki did manage to make it through the ban draft. Neither team taking him off the field or going for a protect on him either way. I don't see him currently being played, but that is something that one of these two teams could lean on. Adam Warlock also making it through. There's a lot of options here, but I mean, for BXIOM, you lost the Mantis, you lost the Gambit, and you lost the Elsa, so you don't really have that one main thing that a lot of these teams like to rally around when it comes to these drafts.
Yeah, very interesting draft here for map 1, and like you said, a lot still on the table here. I love the 2-for-1 nature of the Strange ban here. You know, definitely if you're gonna ban him out somewhere, Dom tends to be the nastiest, but you are right, definitely get some portal movement there, even on Convoy and Convergence. But we are ready to kick off this matchup here. Fury and BXIOM Japan here on Burnin' T'Challa. Jaxu already onto the Elsa Bloodstone, of course. They were able to get her out of this draft, so Raid Boss on the field here. IX9 gonna move in and put some boots on the ground for that first mission area. It doesn't unlock for another 10 seconds, but they are going to try not to delay here. You're going to be seeing teams go aggressive because, again, they want to secure those 2-0s, put themselves in the best position possible for tiebreakers.
See what space is going to be made here. Good early KO there coming out from Dylan, and I don't hate this. I mean, I don't currently see a drone on Dylan, but that is a pretty solid damage amp target if you want to make the use out of this Ultron. And off back-to-back KOs, BXIOM should be able to get the first contest here, and as IX9 doesn't want any of Crime's smoke right now, but we'll get it nonetheless. That is going to be the first cap going BXIOM's way, and a couple of staggers coming out as well, so going to get themselves a good early jump start on the clock here as Fury still struggling to collect themselves. That first rotation didn't quite go the way that they planned, and Dylan put not a wrench in the equation, but a couple of tridents, and that's all the same.
Yeah, going to be seeing a lot of resources funneled into Dylan's Namor throughout this matchup. BXIOM still in the hunt for their first series win here in the group stage, and they're on the move here, already going for some of that high ground. We've seen a lot of teams hold those tunnels up there above this first capture point, and yeah, I'm curious to see if they're able to maintain that. They do back up a little bit here onto the point. Daxu overhead, got to watch out for that Elsa Bloodstone, but so far, BXIOM been in control here. Rage of Ultron coming out from the side of Fury here first. Gonna get some satellite action here, trying to find a way through. Dylan off the table here. The damage option for BXIOM in the spawn room currently. Deep Impact's got a Rage of All trying to fire right back, but Haluk got that Banhammer ready to go here, brawling on this first point while BXIOM still able to hold on to it here. Deadpool dropping off the cliff here. Crime taken out for now. And IX9 as well picking up one on the mag. Big Jeff ult here will find a double. BXIOM gonna clap right back here. They're almost up to 70% of the way captured, so time quickly running out for Fury here onto this first capture point. And if Dylan's got something to say about it, double KO onto the Namor here as well, looking to secure that one. Samble will pick up one on the Magneto, and BXIOM in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, Fury, I mean, they had a good opening plan there, trying to use that Rage of Ultron, but it comes back to that previous fight where Haluk ended up falling and didn't build up to the Banhammer, so Crime was able to walk into it first, and that just threw off the entire groove for Fury, so BXIOM were in control all throughout, even when it felt like Fury were about to get ahead in there, 2 in 1 second with that Jeff Eat, able to just turn it all on its head, and now as we approach 99%, Fury yet to get themselves on the board, have to look for something. This Glartrox from Daxu is going to have to do some heavy lifting.
Yeah, Fury has some potential here to retake. It is going to be under overtime, though. Invisible Boundary coming down for BXIOM Japan, and they are going to fan out just a little bit here. Ultron overhead, that's Deep Impact there for BXIOM, putting down some Encephalo Ray damage. Konya going down on the White Fox, but it's a 1-for-1. Daxu picks up one on the Monster Piercer here, as Fury going to let the ults fly here. Apex Predator coming down, and Daxu goes for the double KO. Sabo taking out the equation here. Glartrox off the ledge. They've also got a Fate of Both Worlds to keep their umbrella over their heads. Haluk's got a portal for the rest of the troops of Fury, and they will stay in it here. Retake at the last second, but of course, it is going to be final fight territory for BXIOM.
Yeah, and to BXIOM's credit, though, they've done a great job of rallying around Samble as the main anchor for this team. He's the one holding down the fort on the point, doing most of the damage and getting a lot of these early KOs. Again, a guy I highlighted great on the Venom, but when it comes to the Shield Vanguards as well, seems like he's got just as much hands, but Fury gonna have to try and battle back here, like you said, from 99 all the way to 100, and kicking things off with another Rage of Ultron. Are we gonna be able to find another opening KO with this one? No, I think BXIOM are giving it a little bit too much respect.
Yeah, definitely going to back down a little bit here. They're going to respond with their own Rage of Ultron here. IX9 goes up for the Meteor in, and Daxu on the move again on the Elsa Bloodstone. That is one Jeff sent all the way back to square one here. BXIOM a little bit dry on resources at the moment, but they are going to try to fight it out over the point here. Almost 50% for Fury, so they are battling back, and that is in the hands of Daxu, of course, driving this train all the way to the station, potentially here, as they are definitely looking at a comeback, but again, they cannot let this slip through their fingers. One wrong move, and BXIOM can easily retake.
That was almost 2 or 3 wrong moves back to back. Some of those dashes from Daxu didn't quite go exactly where you wanted to, but you know, never punished. We take those, baby. Fury still in the driver's seat. I have Agamotto from Haluk. 2 in 1 second to go ahead and pop the Jeff Eat. Stop any follow through from coming up there, and gonna lovingly spit out Crime just to make sure that we're only getting the enemies locked down here. Haluk, yeah, taken to a secondary location, and the whole gang was there waiting for him, but it's only one Elim with no portal. Luke's gonna be a little bit slow to the recontest. Gonna swap back over onto the Venom. He needs to get more before he gets back, and Crime does just that, taking down Silver.
Dropping in on the Deadpool in Fury's area here as they are looking to try and retake one more time, though. Gonna be tough without Dylan or Samble on the point as they are both sent back, and Deep Impact as well. Fury last second breakthrough here, and they're gonna look to finish this thing off. Apex Predator sent their way. Axeleo, though, picks up one on the Invis here, so they are gonna try to fight it out to the very end here. Daxu in your KO feed one more time here. Konya as well on the White Fox. All out war here as both of them are gonna go to that 99 overtime here. They are going to look to close it out. Ticking down. Body advantage for Fury here is big. Just a couple seconds left. The Star-Lord on the move, and it is going to be Fury taking it back in a 0 to 100 retake.
A little bit of a C9 there. The blessing of the deep for Dylan was anything but a blessing, as he was forced out. 1 HP, had really no choice but to pop it, but takes him off the point, can't contest, and Fury end up taking that one. But BXIOM looked so good right up until that point. I feel like, you know, if you're BXIOM, you're like, okay, we didn't win that point, but at the same time, we kind of did, because we were in control for the lion's share of it, and had that fight gone only a little bit differently, I think we'd be walking away with a dub here. If you can get that momentum going once again, I think Fury still feel like they're on the back foot here, not making the most out of this Elsa pick for Daxu. He's still taking a while to kick into second gear, and that's another opportunity for BXIOM to try and regain control.
Yeah, and it's like you said earlier, we're seeing them start to kind of rally around Dylan or Sombel, depending on who's on the point. And of course, Sombel known for some of those Venom plays. I did see the swap for a second here, but it looks like they are going to stick to the Magneto here. A couple of ults right on the verge of charging, so I'm looking at BXIOM maybe going aggressive out the gate here, but they are 1 point down. Fury does rally back there on Warrior Falls, so now it's over to the Stellar Spaceport for them to try and get on the board here, and gonna be interesting to see a couple of changes across the board. I want to see how this plays out for him.
It's an interesting low ground rotation here, giving Fury the high ground willingly, but knowing that they're not playing any sort of poke heroes, you're not quite as worried about that, but it does make it easy for Haluk to dive in and section you off and keep you in this cubby, and I gotta say that's not a great place for Dylan to be. You'd like to have this Namor up on the high ground where he can get the most out of his tridents. Prime trying to anchor on the point and getting punished there by the Ultron, and this is already looking kind of rough for BXIOM. I can't say I'm in love with the low ground approach here on this particular map.
No, double for the Ultron here, and it's going to be Fury with the first cap. They hold a lot of the cards in this instance, and now they are going to move right up to that high ground, go for this choke point around the corner, and just lock in a chokehold, ride this thing out to 100% if they can. IX9 at the front here, soaking up some damage on the Mag. Meteor M maybe somewhere along the line here, but that is a lot of chips on Fury's side of the table here. Of course, control of the point, but they've got this personal space bubble around it here. They pushed out, staying aggressive with it, and are going to look for the hold here until the very end. There's the Apex Predator from Daxu. Now that is going to spawn a whole load of ults from the side of BXIOM, but it's IX9. Meteor M dunked down onto Axileo's Invis. Haluk will pick up one onto Deep Impact as well. And Fury coming out on top yet again here. Jeff in trouble on the side of BXIOM. Citrus as well, finding one on the Luna Snow here, and they are going to have the opportunity to push up even further now, literally knocking on the door of BXIOM's spawn room.
And here's the thing, right, is like BXIOM is playing a poke comp, so Fury don't really have to show themselves until they're ready to clamp down on top of BXIOM, so they can just keep playing this choke point and deny Dylan any access to any angles that would make this Namor pick worth its salt. But IX9 with another early KO, and now it is time. This is exactly what Fury want to do. They want to clamp right on down, and Haluk is just completely uncontested in the backline. He's taking down 2 strats.
Rock and a hard place here for BXIOM. Fury about 75% of the way captured here, and they're finding even more picks. IX9 gets another on the Magneto here. Axeleo fires right back and sends him to the spawn room in response. 80% now for Fury, so BXIOM quickly running out of time here. They just can't find the answer here. Like you said, Fury able to just hide themselves until they are ready to fight.
Time to fight down on the point, though. That invisible boundary and the frag onto IX9 did give BXIOM a little bit of space, but Sombel is going to buy them even more. A fadeaway shot there onto Haluk. Now Citrus going to go ahead and pop the Fate of Both Worlds, get us into that 99 territory, and there will be a Kumiho Unleashed ready to go as well, but you got to dodge the Jet Bolt. Where is this one coming out? Did it get anything? I did see it got one friendly, and I think that's going to be all 2 in 1 second is going to get, so it's just going to be heal sitting now for this Jeff here. Kumiho now going to be unleashed as BXIOM need to find a way to brute force their way, but the Glartrox has been unleashed, and it is deep in your backline. That is going to be a triple. Nope, only a double for Daxus. So we're taking the glory 2 for 2, but hey, you know what? It looked like it was going to be a triple. We were about 2 or 3 HP away from a huge play, and it was still pretty big.
Yeah, and BXIOM just not able to show up here on Stellar Spaceport. Again, Fury choking them there around the corner on the upper floors of that second submap and just eating away at that capture progress. 0 to 100 here for Fury, and they definitely brought the Fury in this matchup. Daxter, of course, in that KO feed over and over again, practically ran it there by the end of that map, and off the back of some solid Apex Predators. Fury walking away with map 1. That's 24 elims, 10 final hits off those for Daxu. There's some numbers on the side of BXIOM, but still just a little bit too far back in that rearview mirror. Better looks for them on a submap number 1. It just did not go their way. They just got held down. Environmental play from Fury, very solid there, and a very comfortable looking checkpoint number 2.
Yeah, a little touch and go on Warrior Falls, to be completely honest with you, but Fury bounced back heavily with that 100-0 on Stellar Spaceport. And again, like, if you're BXIOM and you want to try and play this poke composition, I'm just not quite sure why you would put the Namor down into the low ground. Maybe you're just trying to play mostly for the counter dive, but That's not really like Namor's biggest strength. Yeah, it works out pretty well in ranked against like a Spider-Man, but if you're against just Haluk making all the space with the Venom, you're gonna need a lot more than that. You're going to need the angles, you're gonna need the space, you're gonna need to hit the tridents right square between the eyes, and you're also going to need to contest the Ultron, you're gonna need to contest the Elsa, and you just can't really do that with a big roof like right above your head and no real space in front of you. If you can't really see what you're supposed to be shooting at, how are you gonna hit it?
Right, it's like they're just not even there, and then they come out of the corner or around the corner there at the last second and just rain down everything they've got onto BXIOM. They knock on the door several times, but no way inside here on Burn and T'Challa as Fury walk away with it with both capture points again. Number one, you know, some rough waters here and there, but capture point number two, so comfortable looking, not a lot of sweat to wipe off the brow there for Fury.
Well, BXIOM still have some time to reassess, get themselves on the board here. Fury in the hunt for, like I said, that 2-0 to give themselves the ultimate safety net. We'll see if they find it on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. We're only getting started.
Welcome back, rivals. Day number 3 of the group stage here in Oceania, and map 1 in the books of this matchup between Fury and BXIOM, and a pretty open and shut affair here for Fury on map number 1, but there were some good looks there for BXIOM, so I'm interested to see if we're gonna get that all-important map number 3 here, or if Fury are just gonna clock out after 2.
I mean, that would be nice. That is the goal for Fury, but if you're BXIOM, like we said, you know, there was something there, especially on Warrior Falls, and if you can start to recapture wherever that mojo was and make the correct plays on a map of your choosing, because Domination, it's always going to be randomly chosen what the first map is. You get no control over it, no say over it, it's whatever, but when it's your map pick, you get to pick the strats, and I think that is the last time in this group stage that BXIOM is going to get that luxury, so right here, right now, they got to make the most of it.
Right, I mean, you know, the critical thing here is, you know, we're headed to BXIOM's territory. It is going to be their pick, but if they do take this to a map 3, they will have to try and close out the series in Fury territory, as they'll have that last one. So, you know, a little bit of a back and forth here. They'll have a disadvantage at the end, at the tail end of this series. But, you know, BXIOM, we talked a little bit about this before the match. You know, we wanted to see them find an anchor and kind of revolve around them. You know, we saw them playing around, you know, Sambal when he was on the point in some good positions. We saw him play around Dylan as well, but just not able to string together those wins. You know, there are some bright spots here, and I would say the series not totally solved quite yet, but definitely gonna have to put pedal to the metal here because, again, last life, it is match point for Fury now.
And I guess if I could offer like a little bit of criticism from my armchair over here where I do my analysis, you can call me something of an armchair analyst if you'd like. But like looking at BXIOM and the way that they approach Burn and T'Challa, I feel like they have a lot of talent and they have a lot of potential, but what they're lacking is a plan because we go back to the picks and the bans, and they lose out on the Elsa, the Gambit, and the Mantis. That's the 3 strongest heroes, and they go for the Protect on the Invis. Okay, so what's the plan? They also protect the Ultron for the damage amp. Okay, what are we amping? Like, who is the main recipient of this damage amp going to be? To my eyes, it looked like it was going to be Dylan on the Namor, which is fine. Namor is a great poke hero, very underrated, and does have a ton of potential, but you have to set him up for success, right? Like, you gotta set him up in places where the poke comp is going to be best. I think Phoenix also would have been a good look, potentially an even better look against what Fury were running, but maybe you were just kind of fearing some sort of oddball flanker coming out. You wanted the Squids to try and control him. Nevertheless, on BXIOM's last map pick of the group stages, they have chosen to take us to Symbiotic Surface, which, you know, you and I still get flashbacks of this from the Asia region on how many times this went poorly for Reject. Hopefully BXIOM have a better read on this map than they do.
Yeah, some teams here in Ignite definitely have some history here, have some demons on this Symbiotic Surface map, of course. Not seen a ton of Clintar so far here in the preseason. Just doesn't seem to be the most popular of map picks here, but that is where we're headed next. And yeah, I 100% agree with you. You know, you want to see more cohesion in the team building. And, you know, we see that a lot with teams that are dropping maps. You know, it oftentimes comes down to, like you said, the game plan, the actual, when we're at the drawing board, you know, doing the marks and the X's and O's here, what are we coming to the table with? And, you know, something else I want to see, a little more versatility, a little more flexibility from them, because, you know, you pointed out, you know, they've got this poke composition here that they were running on Burn and T'Challa, and Fury were able to just kind of ride it out until they were ready to fight. You know, and I wanted to see more changes from them at the 11th hour there. So definitely a couple things to clean up here for BXIOM as we head for their map pick next. But of course, Fury, they are going to look to lock this thing down and secure one more 2-0 here in the group stage.
I do think, though, that if you want to try and lean back into that poke composition, even though poke isn't exactly the strongest right now, it is still passable when it comes to Symbiotic Surface, so this isn't a bad map pick. I think, you know, a lot of the things like the Ultron and like the Namor can also shine here, especially on that first point. It's definitely a better look for some of those heroes than it would be for like a Central Park kind of angle or even a Museum of Contemplation. So I don't hate it. I just want to see it actually bear fruit. I see that we're planting some seeds here. I'm not quite sure that we've watered it adequately, but that nevertheless, you know what? If the fruit tastes sweet, I won't complain.
Yeah, I mean, the notes are definitely there. I can start to see the vision here, but needs just a little more clarity. Maybe wipe off the lens just a little bit here. We are ready. Map number 2. It is headed to Symbiotic Surface for some convergence action here. BXIOM, again, still in the hunt for a series win here in the preseason, so this is their moment, but the bells are tolling here, and it tolls for a potential Fury 2-0 to close out their group stage run. Ready for some draft here. It is going to be Gambit taken off the table right away. No big shocker there. BXIOM gonna have the attack first, so they are gonna have a quite a meat grinder to run through here to get to that all-important cart unlock point. They are gonna save the Elsa for themselves here, so at least they walk away with one of the raid bosses. How will Fury handle this one from here on out?
Well, right away, though, I do like that. I love that pick. You know, it does force Daxu into that Elsa duel, because you know Fury are going to want to try and take that one. They're going to ban out the Mantis, and this first protect should be the Elsa, so we will get the Elsa v Elsa. And honestly, if you win the Elsa head-to-head, you can win out the entire game just on sure tempo. And that alone, I think, is already improvement over what we saw on Burn and T'Challa. So yeah, I like it. We're starting things off in a pretty good place.
Yeah, good looks here in the first half of draft. Mantis off the table again, so no Soul Resurgence here for either side of the board. Simultaneous ban up next. We saw a hint there of potential invis, but they are both going to take their time to think about this one. I don't know. Maybe the Daredevil here potentially taken away by BXIOM, and yes, Fury will go with the invis. Definitely interesting on the Daredevil. Fury going to make that a one-sided Sue Storm as well.
That's, again, a coup for Fury to get away with that one. As the second protect, I do really like the Invisible Woman. I'm curious if we reach for the Doctor Strange once again, because that is still on the table for Fury's last ban. BXIOM, I think, they're debating. Yeah, they want to go for that Loki ban, which, again, interesting that made it through the ban phase on Burn and T'Challa, and neither team played Loki. Like, bro's an S-tier hero, and neither team was like, we don't need him. We do it without him.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of Cloaky as of late. Those back-to-back Eternal Bonds can be so devastating and so aggressive here. Vanpool going to be saved as the last one for BXIOM, so they're going to get a little bit of Deadpool in their area here. Fury got the last ban here before we head for the surface of Clintar. A couple interesting shouts here in this draft phase, and Fury going to look to do away with the Land Shark to wrap things up, but pretty similar looks here for Fury. They're going to bring that Elsa right back out here. No big shock there, and they want those invisible boundaries as well. Does look like Loki at least on the table here for BXIOM, as it is going to be that Jeff locked in at the very end. So Loki on the table, but the question is, do they want to bring him here? And I do see a Loki being locked in.
And Axeleo hovering the Cloak and Dagger. Also swapping back over to the Strat Pool. Interesting. I don't know that Strat Pool Loki is my ideal strategist lineup for the attacking side, but that's always subject to change. Sad that we're going to see the Jeff ban. No symbiotic shenanigans on the symbiotic surface. How poetic that would have been, but overall, I kind of feel like even losing out on the Loki Fury's ban still kind of comes out better, but we gotta mark the improvements where we see them. BXIOM able to get the Elsa through and take that head-to-head. I do like Dylan's chances in this Elsa head-to-head against Daxu, as long as the team is able to coalesce around him and set him up for success, which, with the likes of the Loki, they should be able to do quite nicely.
Yeah, it does feel like a little bit of a black eye to lose that Loki, but Fury gonna just play right on through it here. I do potentially see one headed our way here, so maybe gonna get a little bit of mischief here on map number 2, right down on the surface of Clintar here. Fury standing on match point. This last matchup for both of these teams here into the group stage. Gonna be looking to put up as much as they can there on the leaderboard, secure that math for themselves and put themselves in the best tiebreaker positions. BXIOM gonna take the first attack here, and there's a portal coming through by Sambo. BXIOM gonna charge right on to the point here. They're gonna take that high ground, of course, and look to just shoot down into the shooting gallery.
And crucially, that portal does deny anyone coming up from behind. If they want to wrap all the way around, they can be their guest, but Sambo taking an early angle here and able to get on point and get the entire cavalry in there, so a good opening play there from BXIOM. And meanwhile, like, Fury were trying to play for that high ground. You could see, like, IX9 trying to break that wall down. Doesn't matter anymore because the fight is happening. Boots on the ground right now.
Yeah, it is a bit of a move here from BXIOM. They are already contesting, but Daxu on the move, right back at the KO feed, picking up where he left off from map 1. Big dive from the Wolf as well here, so Fury gonna capitalize on an early KO, try to stop this first tick of progress from being captured by BXIOM here, and one by one, the red lights going out here, and it is gonna be Fury emerging on top as half of BXIOM is dusting themselves off here, so full reset for them. Unfortunately, Portal does not pay off for him here. Sambo gonna go over to the group now.
It was a good opening attempt there from BXIOM, but they're not going to be able to get a whole lot forward as Fury. They read that one like a book, and a not insignificant part of that is the Wolverine pick. I love watching Wolverine. He's such a strong hero, so impactful, especially when it comes to these last stand plays, and 50% 2-1 on deck. Already got a kidnap onto a backliner, forcing out the regen domain. Will be punished for it, but healing factor, nope, not going to be enough. Axeleo is gonna be able to live and get his revenge. But Fury, I don't think they're sweating that one too much, because that happens so far away that Silver should be back in time before the fight really kicks off.
Yeah, definitely nothing to hit the panic button about here, especially with Daxu gonna get that Apex Predator online and ready to go here, but it is gonna be the Eternal Bond, the not real Eternal Bond here. That's the Loki copy to start off BXIOM's next attack here. They're gonna at least get one tick of progress, but Fury is gonna try to battle back here under the umbrella of that invisible boundary. Slice and dice though, Silver on the ribbon attack here, taking down most of BXIOM. Triple KO for the Wolverine here, but it is Wolf v Wolf. Deep Impact in some deep trouble here, and Sliver will finish him off. A quadra KO for the Wolverine, the X-Man himself. They will stop BXIOM at just one tick, and with a minute 30 on the clock, they are running out of time to find an answer here.
And Wolverine is another one of those heroes that is so strong, can just take over an entire lobby if you don't pay close attention to him, but isn't strong enough to catch the bans. You're reaching for the Daredevil bans instead, so Sliver is able to get away with an absolute coup to be able to sneak this one through. And now every time BXIOM want to take an approach, they've got to check every angle, because you never know where Logan might be lurking.
Yeah, definitely one to keep your head on a swivel for here. BXIOM going to be on the move, going to try to usurp this capture point, and they are slowly running out of time here. Under 60 seconds for them to find a way back onto this point here, but IX9 going to deliver some Magneto to Dylan here. Elsa sent all the way back to spawn, and another wolf dive here. Fury going to go into the toolkit and try to find some more KOs here. Eternal Bond now from Axeleo as well, and Konya too. So Eternal Bond for Eternal Bond on both sides of the board here, scrambling for some safe ground, but it is going to be Fury safe at the end of the day here, and that last stand is good here. Most of BXIOM taken offline with just 30 seconds left to go here. It's going to be a mad dash back to the point, but the question is, when they get there, if they get there, what can they do to Fury?
They are going to open another portal. There is enough time for Samble to get another good angle coming out from this one. They're going to have both of their Duelist ultimates as well as a Psionic Seduction. I think the Seduction does have to be the opening salvo, but they did not see the Glartrox coming, and that may be the last thing they ever see.
Yeah, absolutely. Staring up at the lights here. Citrus will find one on the invis. They're going to look to body block him through the portal here. Just a couple of seconds left, and nobody from BXIOM on the point. Time ticks away here. 52% of the way to that first checkpoint is all they are able to secure here. So now Fury, the task at hand is laid out clearly before them here. Just about halfway to checkpoint number 1. That's all they got to do to close this thing out 2-0.
And I guess the Elsa versus Elsa was a bit of a red herring. It ended up being the Wolverine versus the Wolverine that ended up telling the tale of that attacking side right up until Daxu put the exclamation mark on it with that last Apex Predator. That was the Hail Mary play for BXIOM. And I gotta, like, my heart goes out to Samble on that one, because you would have loved to go for something a little bit more cheeky, but I just don't think there was enough time to get it where you wanted to go and make sure that you could still get boots on the ground on the point in contention. When the clock's just not on your side and you have to make those last second, split-second decisions, that was unfortunately just the wrong one. Daxu had it scouted, and Fury looking to get that 2-0. They're only 52.83% away from getting just that, and not exactly securing themselves a playoff spot, but making themselves idiot-proof as it pertains to the math that is going to math in their favor.
Right, you know, it's really going to come down to map score overall for a lot of these teams to determine their fate. So 2-0 is what Fury wants to see here, and they're not the only team in the hunt for a 2-0 clean series here tonight, but they are the ones right now currently closest to closing it out here. Swapping sides, BXIOM now going to try to hold it down. They've got a little bit of ground to stand on, but it is going to be tippy toes here onto the edge of the cliff as Fury now on the attack. They've got some change-ups here, but for the most part, they are going to look for the same things, and it is going to be that wolf once again from them. So now BXIOM, of course, not a lot of ground here for them to stand on, so very little margin of error here.
I do like Dylan being on that Adam Warlock where you got the double res composition. Oh, Kidnap coming out early on, though. That is not good. We don't have the Karmic Revival on deck yet. Only 18%. It's miles away, so that is going to be one and done for Crime. A strange TP will bring him back eventually, but you gotta try and build up to these revives. They're just not coming.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the question here is I do like the back-to-back Karmic Revivals, but do they have enough time to even build up to it? And they may not, because Fury wiping the floor with him here. BXIOM going offline. Fury standing tall on the point here. There is a strange portal from Crime, but now he's in trouble and all the way back in spawn under 60 seconds. Fury will take the one checkpoint they need, and they'll walk away with this one exactly what they needed here. 2 maps to 0.
I mean, there was a plan this time for BXIOM, but unfortunately the execution was lacking. They did, manage to get that Adam Warlock and the Loki through the picks in the ban phase, play for that double res composition, and even got the Daredevil ban so you could hide your Adam. But the problem is you lost your Groot way before the fight even kicked off properly, so you got absolutely nothing out of that pick. You have to play so much more safe. You have to play for the heals, and you can't risk getting kidnapped by a Wolverine. Even though we see Citrus with the MVP there, for me, it was the Wolves that told the story here. Sliver with 8 final hits, and so many of those were just taking your Vanguards wherever he pleases. We're going on a joyride, you and me.
Yeah, a lot of battlefield control for Fury in that one. And yeah, you're right. We're looking at the wrong hero v hero matchup there, because the Wolf definitely one of the stars here in this match. And yeah, I definitely agree. There's a clear path forward or a plan for BXIOM, but with only 50% of that first capture point, there's just no way they can build the ults that fast. So unfortunately, the Adam Warlock does go by the wayside here. Just a single elim, one final hit, and that's Axeleo that picks that one up for BXIOM. BXIOM and Fury walk away with it pretty clean here, pretty open and shut. Of course, the Wolf, the only one KO'd on the side of Fury, and they'll walk away with most of the medals here in this matchup. So, you know, a valiant effort for sure, but that valiance not enough on its own to take Symbiotic Surface.
That's unfortunately not the greatest way to go out ending your preseason. Not with a bang, but with a whimper, where your strategist is the only person on your team with a final hit. But again, there is a ton of talent on this BXIOM roster. I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got for us, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to wait until Stage 1 to see them again, as Fury have not necessarily locked their chances of a playoff appearance, but nearly guaranteed it. They're going to go up 2-1, and both of their victories were 2-0. So, you know, unless Vulcan Red pull off a miracle and we go to some weird, crazy alternate dimension, I think we'll be seeing more of Fury going forward. And I am excited because this is also a team I'm a big fan of. You've got players like Haluk, players like Daxu who can take it over, players like Kanuya who've been following since the Cafe Noir days, and it's a joy to see them out here in Oceania thriving.
Yeah, thriving, definitely the right word here. And for a lot of teams, that's going to be the hardest part of this night is, you know, putting up the numbers, taking the wins that they can get, and then crossing their fingers, hoping for the best, and watching the results flow in throughout the night. Of course, one series already off the table here. Fury makes it a pretty quick day at the office for themselves, but now, like you said, they kind of have to watch and wait to see if they're going to make it in or if they will fall out of contention for those playoff spots. You know, there's only 4 of them, so definitely not enough to go around for everyone here, but they have done everything they can to put themselves, like we've said, in the best mathematical position to keep moving, and definitely looking clean out there as well.
I think there's like maybe a 1% chance that Vulcan Red like overtake him in some crazy scenario. If Vulcan Red drop even a single map to the Chiefs later on, I think it's locked, like it's cooked. If it's not already locked, like we'll have to check the Wikipedia here because they do the math so much more quickly and correctly than I ever could. I'm just over here just like just yapping, hoping what I say is right. I don't think too hard about the words that I say, but I do think pretty hard about the questions that I ask, and I've got some questions for the Vanguard player from Fury. We're gonna have Haluk here for an interview, and I'm looking forward to this one, Diatonic, because again, this is a player that you and I have followed extensively through the Americas career back from the Dilducks days, and right now he is here. We've got him on deck. Haluk, how are you doing? Hello.
Hello. Nice to see y'all again. Doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're interviewing you. We're supposed to ask you how you're feeling though. So how's it feel getting that win and pretty much securing yourself a playoff spot?
I mean, it feels pretty good. We've been working pretty hard like the last like 2 months since Ignite's been announced. Me and Kanuya getting up at like 2, 3 in the morning every day, scrimming every day for the last 2 months. So it feels good making it to playoffs. Hard work's paying off.
How do you balance something like that, getting up at 2 a.m. for scrims? Like, what's the life cycle like? How's your circadian rhythm?
I mean, I don't get like a lot of like long sleep, but kind of wake up, go to work, get back home, take a nap, play scrims, take another nap, go back to work, and kind of loop that cycle every day.
I can definitely feel you on that one to some degree. Lots of micro naps throughout the day definitely gets you through. Yeah. You know, I feel like for you guys in this matchup here, was their coordination that really got you through here to the 2-0 win. What do you guys feel like, you know, in this particular matchup was kind of the key that helped you unlock the door here and just take it 2-0?
I mean, we've been like working on a lot of our like dives really for comp and rivals, and so we've been kind of practicing, scrimming a lot, and just getting our like timings down and like working together as a team, really push through and win.
Well, I mean, I don't want to like get ahead of myself and say that you have secured a playoff spot, because I mean you most likely have, but there's always some crazy alternate realities here, especially when the groups are this narrow. Anything can happen. Yeah. I'm like 99% sure, but let's just assume that you are. Are there any teams from the other group that you particularly want to face that you're like chomping at the bit to get at?
I mean, most likely, you know, we want our our take at Gen G. They've been like the most dominant team in the OCE, so we want to take a stab at them again. Hopefully get a rematch with Chiefs, since that game was relatively close. When gonna get back with them, and then hopefully from the other side of the group, outside Gen G, maybe Kanga. A lot of the people on our team is close with Kanga, and so we think that would be a pretty fun match for us as well.
You pretty much just named everybody else who's likely to qual, so you're taking on all comers at this point.
Yeah, I mean, not to, don't reveal anything you can't. Don't, reveal the whole playbook here. But the only other thing I wanted to know, talking about those matchups, Gen G Chiefs, definitely tough matchups for sure. Is there something you guys are kind of trying to clean up ahead of those? Because, those are definitely going to be some tough fights.
I mean, we can always if there's something that you can improve on every day. And so, kind of every day we're practicing, we're kind of taking on new concepts and trying to refine them and really just get into the best shape possible to play those matches and win.
I mean, sometimes it is just that easy. Get yourself in the best shape possible. Put yourself in the best case scenario. I got one more question before we send you off to celebrate with your team after a quick clock in, clock out, easy shift today. Do you have any ex-teammates from the Americas region that you want to give a shout out to?
I haven't seen. I haven't really even kept up with the America in a long time, but
it's hard to when you're sleeping and working.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes just I'm so tapped out of it. But shout out to everyone back stage 1 Ignite, Luminosity Gaming, #LG win. Shout out to all of them.
That is a throwback. Well, congrats again. It's always good to talk to you. I hope this isn't the last we get to hear from you, and best of luck going forward. Hope to see you in the playoffs.
I think appreciate you guys coming out and casting as well. Thank you.
Yeah, take care. Yeah.